All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking about culture and movies and all kinds of stuff here, and doing so in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Last weekend, I went to see The Sound of Freedom, and I did a review on the movie, and that review came from the heart. Since then, there have been some interesting developments. Before I get going on talking about The Sound of Freedom, this book here might be something you might want to check out. It's called The Parasitic Mind. All right, you've heard a lot about the mind virus these days, how infectious ideas are killing common sense by the great Gad Sad, one of the better names, hard to forget names. Um, it's not a breezy sort of fun reading experience, but if you want to know how some of these ideas get trapped in the human brain, you might want to check out that book. And if you miss what I'm saying, you can always go back to the beginning and watch the video again. I get these messages. What was that called again? And I'm like, you could go back and stop the video and then rewind it and then play it again. Just a little tip there, okay? Just like listening to modern retro radio, just giving you a little tip. So since I went to see The Sound of Freedom, some interesting things are happening in the media, which again, this is why there are so many conspiracy theories running around. Now, supposedly this movie is just for people who are in QAnon. Now, QAnon is the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a long time. And I've, been aware of QAnon since 2016 or whatever. One of the things that Donald Trump gave us was QAnon. And the QAnon people are always like, yeah, Trump's going to be reinstalled any day. Trust the plan. The military is going to be taking over soon. There's a plan in place, and just wait. There are people who are on the inside. The white hats are going to go after the black hats, and not black cats, but black hats. And everything's going to be fine. Just trust the plan. Just sit there and eat Doritos and trust the plan. So this movie is not for QAnon people, because this movie is a call to action for normal, common sense people. So Jim Caviezel, who was also in The Passion of the Christ, has responded to the media, and the media are attacking this movie. Jim Caviezel says they're scared and they're quaking in their boots. Now, why would anyone attack a movie which exposes child trafficking and the monstrous people who are doing, unspeakable things to children? After you watch it, you're just like, what? What is happening? And people are sitting around just, let's be entertained today. Let's go and see an action movie, which is fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't go see an action movie, but if you put your head in the sand and you deny what apparently has been going on for many years, and it seems as though Hollywood isn't really interested in getting to the bottom of the situation. So this movie has been kicking around for 5 years, and finally this smaller studio, Angel Studios, decided to put it out there. And I'm sure it took a great effort for them to do so. But Jim Caviezel says they're scared, and it's because the public are listening to their hearts. Now, when you watch this, your heart aches for these children, and it also breaks for how evil this world is in places, not everywhere, but it seems to be a problem. In the United States, we are the biggest consumer of this child trafficking, not to mention the fact that our interest in certain kinds of obscene material, which involves children. I'm not just talking about for adults, but adults are consuming this stuff at a 5,000% increase over 5 years ago. Let that sink in. So you're sitting there and you're thinking, yeah, who cares? It's not my business. It's everybody's business. Do you have a kid? Do you have a grandchild? Do you have somebody in your life who is still holding on to innocence? I do. And when he gets older, that innocence obviously starts to go away. And it's sad because when your kids grow up, they lose that childlike wonder, those questions, those funny questions that you get when they're kids. You don't get that when they get to be, say, 13 or 14. They're asking you questions and then you're telling them answers, but they're, the innocence is gone. And these people, these evil people, are trying to steal the innocence from children. And Hollywood apparently doesn't think this is a good topic. And that really shows you how much darkness has settled in, not just here in the United States, but around the world in various places. So again, Jim Caviezel, who's the star of the movie, he says, when there is evil, real evil in the world, and when love is in your heart, boy, evil is just a coward to God. Mainstream news outlets have ramped up their attacks on Sound of Freedom since the anti-child trafficking movie emerged as a sleeper hit at the box office. The movie, which was dumped by Disney 3 years ago. Dumped by Disney. Now, I'm going to stop there and go over to another article. Disney Plus keeps growing, but streaming loses $1.5 billion. It's still the fastest growing streaming service, according to entertainment surveys here. But the Walt Disney Company has taken a $1.5 billion loss collectively over various platforms, including ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. So even though they're getting more subscribers, I mean, how do you lose $1.5 billion? And that, by the way, is double its $630 million loss from this same quarter a year ago. So they went from a $630 million loss. I wonder what precipitated, what caused that loss, and then $1.5 billion. But it's basically full steam ahead. Yeah, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Obviously, they raised their monthly fee from $3 to $11 a month, while also introducing a version with commercials at the rate of $8 a month. Disney chief executive Bob Chapek said Tuesday that the company still expects Disney Plus to become profitable in fiscal 2024. I wonder what they could be doing wrong. So again, Disney turned down The Sound of Freedom, which so far has earned $41.7 million and is easily outgrossing Disney's Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny on a per-screen basis. As a result, some journalists, now think of this, okay? Even if QAnon was a thing, right? They're smearing the movie as QAnon, which is certain news outlets' catch-all term referring to people who believe that global child sex trafficking rings exist, involving many of the world's elite. The term has expanded in recent years to encompass any conservative who believes in a conspiracy theory. How about any human? Forget conservative, forget any labels. The fact that they put labels on the people who think child sex trafficking is bad shows basically how insane they all are. Who cares if you're left wing, right wing? So if you're more to the right of center, which I don't really understand labels anymore. But say you're into like family values. What does that mean? What kind of family? A mom and a dad and children. Okay? And a mother and father that love their children and try to raise their children. And, you can have broken families, you can have mixed families, blended families, whatever they're called. But people, even who aren't in these categories, are noticing that there seems to be something dark and menacing and evil happening. And you don't have to be on the right wing of the political spectrum to notice this. But yet, here we are, right? We're talking about this like the only way that you can really enjoy this movie is if you're a member of QAnon. Now, I could bring Donald Trump into this a little bit. I'm not going to, because these people believe Donald Trump is going to be reinstalled, that he was supposed to be installed. The Pillow guy said that Trump was coming back in August of 2021. And people wonder why I'm not a Donald Trump fan. All right, just because the craziness of it. Now, did I like the economy from 2016 to 2019? Yes. I would prefer somebody without any baggage, without any of this false bravado, without any of this, three-ring circus going on. That's what I would prefer. Somebody who can just get the job done. They don't have to be entertaining. They just have to do their job. If I want entertainment, I'll go and see a movie. Now, the entertainment value of this particular movie is very high because there's so much drama here. But this isn't a movie where you're going to sit there and enjoy eating your popcorn. I was eating popcorn and I had to stop because the content is so mind-blowing and so horrific and breaks your heart. The Guardian ran a hit piece on the movie, calling the movie QAnon adjacent and paranoid. The movie is paranoid, telling the true story of how two children were rescued. So it's paranoid because this stuff really isn't happening. Good old Rolling Stone, who said, you know what, we're going to change the way we report on music. Well, there are a lot of people that believe Rolling Stone is an arm of the federal government, which is crazy because Rolling Stone, back in the late 1960s, I think opposed pretty much everything that the government was doing. But now it seems Rolling Stone is just a mouthpiece for a narrative, which it's just mind-blowing. Rolling Stone, all right? Rolling Stone, supposed to be anti-establishment, but they called the movie a triumph for QAnon believers. Yep. One thing that's amazing is, we make movies for the audience. And I understand, the critics' world, but I like to focus on the audience. And the audience, they're responding. They're the most important for us as filmmakers and storytellers, and the evidence is giving us 100%. That's the rating that the audience gives. This is Alejandro Monteverde. He's the director. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. But he cares most about the audience, which is giving the movie a rating of 100%. If you go and you're not moved or changed by this movie, if this movie is paranoid, just like I think Orwell was optimistic, Orwell's predictions were all very optimistic, according to what's been going on, right? So if this movie is paranoid, and say just a little tiny bit of this is going on, and not to the level which is statistically provable. These are statistics, a 5,000% increase in the consumption of products featuring children that are supposed to be for adults. Okay, 5,000% increase. Now that used to be looked upon in a very negative way. Now, it appears that people are trying to rationalize or normalize it. You guys are pretty sick and twisted, right? I don't care if you're from a cohesive family, you're from a broken family, you're a single mother, you're a single father, you had a rough life and stuff happens to you, if you're not even just a little bit moved by what's going on here in this movie, then again, I would wonder if maybe something else is going on in your life where you're not able to express emotions properly. I mean, this book here, what's a parasitic mind? What's a parasites? How does your mind become filled with parasites? This isn't a left-right problem, by the way. This isn't, so if the right wing is supposed to be QAnon, see, QAnon is like, the Ouija boards and the tarot cards, things that I don't believe in, all right? I'm just being honest. I don't believe in any of it. Now, do I believe there are things happening that some people consider to be conspiracies, but yet are truly happening? Yeah. I think we know what happened in 2020 and 2021 with a certain product that was introduced to everybody and sold as completely safe and effective. And if you don't do it, then you're not a team player. You're not patriotic. That was a good one. Do your patriotic duty. Screw your freedom, but do your patriotic duty. All right. And you combine that with something like this, where the most innocent human beings on the planet are being physically destroyed by monstrous people. And you sit here and you go, they're paranoid. They're just paranoid. It's just QAnon stuff. Folks, if you haven't seen the movie, go and see it. All right, just go and see it. If this movie doesn't change you, I'd be shocked if it didn't change you. If you're one of these people that thinks, this is overblown, this isn't really going on. This was one guy who rescues 2 kids. By the way, the southern border of the United States, it's wide open. It's wide open. Anybody with a brain who's following this knows that kids are coming over the border and then they're disappearing. Where are they going? Where are they going? Does anyone care about where they're going? And why are so many coming to the United States? Because we're the biggest consumer of this monstrous, demonic practice. Oh, but, hey, these people, they can't help what they're into. Well, the law should help them not be into what apparently they're into. So, I could go off a lot longer on this. I can't believe that this is crazy that the media would come out against this movie. Paranoid. It's just a movie for QAnon. Some people don't even know what QAnon is. Do you guys know this? Like, they don't know. You're just, this is a narrow group of people who are pretty twisted and who are truly looking for a messiah instead of the correct messiah. They think there's going to be a political solution to their spiritual problems, and there isn't. So again, you have to go back to Jesus Christ. You don't go to some political leader, somebody who's running a cult, and say, yeah, he's the only one that can set this straight, and he's coming again. He's going to be reinstalled at any moment. It's destiny. So if it was broke the first time and you're complaining about how broke it is, why isn't it going to be broken the second time? Like, they don't see the telegraphing of this entire scenario again. Like, they can't figure that out. They figured it out the first time easily. So the best thing you can do is work locally and make sure that your state government, your congressional district, your state rep district, whatever that is, right? Your county commissioner, those people, they should know you, all right, at this stage, because there probably isn't a solution on the federal level. But you can call your county sheriff and you could say, hey, sheriff, what are you doing about child trafficking? You guys on this or what? That's how you fix it. Brandon isn't going to fix this. I think Brandon, I'm not even going to say it. but you know. So anyway, folks, slow news day in the music world. So I figured I would cover the fact that you're paranoid and you're part of QAnon if you think The Sound of Freedom is an important movie. Just nuts. It's just nuts where we're at right now. I mean, the Bible predicts all this stuff, that good will be evil and evil will be good, and people, you can't reason with them. There's scales on their eyes that cannot be opened, and everyone will be offended 24 hours a day. I don't know how you can be offended. This is a must-see movie. So that's kind of like part 2 of my review / critique of what the media. Don't you just love the media? The media, they really are dividing and conquering the world, more or less just for clicks and views and for tribalism. They're on this tribe and they've got to protect their tribe because this is the kind of stuff their tribe is into. I'm just going to say it. Why would they not applaud and say a triumph, Academy Award worthy movie? Why wouldn't they say that? I think because this is something that is going to negatively affect a lot of people in Hollywood, and they don't want to be found out. That's the truth. They don't, because they should embrace this. They should look at this, not only the acting, the directing, the message, everything about this. They just don't like it because it is the classic good versus evil. And the kind of evil is some of the worst evil ever known on this planet. This evil rivals anything from the Old Testament. It's the same stuff, just repackaged. And it might be worse. So that's my video on the topic. Please subscribe to the channel. Please. I need your help. Subscribers. I don't do videos like this all the time. Typically, I talk about music stuff. Today, I'm talking about The Sound of Freedom. It's a great movie. Go see it and spread the word.